Welcome to Into Boxing. This is Melissa. I'm at the Cameron McGee Fight Week. We've just had the press conference. I am joined by none other than Mr. Spider, Craig Richards, strange way to introduce you, and his trainer and manager, Peter Sims. How are you guys doing?
Alright, yeah, thanks Melissa.
We're good as always.
Did you guys enjoy the press conference?
Loved it. Dabbage gave us a lot of jokes today. We loved it.
That's what everyone keeps saying.
He's great, isn't he?
He's very entertaining. At some point during the press conference, I looked over and I saw you, Craig, looking at Peter and smiling. And I thought, what's Peter doing over there? What face is he pulling? Can you tell me what happened in that moment?
You'll find out tomorrow.
Oh my God, leaving us all in suspense.
I like to do that.
So let's touch a little bit on the press conference, some of the comments that you made, Craig. I picked up a little bit of a frustrated, shall we say, energy from you, talking about perhaps how you're overlooked in the division.
Yeah, I'll pick that up right now. Even when I come in here today, it was one of them situations that even before I boxed Dimitri Bivol, everyone said this is the number one pound for pound, one of the best guys in boxing. After I put up the performance I put up with, Bivol must not have been that good. It wasn't Craig Richards is that good. When people writing me off in the bookies, oh he's not that good against Jake Bull, top 5 in Britain, and I smashed him within 3 rounds, Jake Bull wasn't that good. When I smashed Shakan Pitters, everyone said before even I fought Shakan Pitters, oh they're not going to take the risk. Craig Richards is well ranked, why would he go on another channel and risk it when he's with Matchroom and etc etc. I did, we went over there, me and Peter went up there, we drove over to Birmingham in his backyard, smashed him within 9 rounds, took the title and ran off into the night, back home with the belt. And yet again, Shakan must not have been that good. Someone said to me, oh is that Shakan guy still boxing? Like the other day, like he's not, only he's lost to me and he's done like 17 fights. And it's time and time again, I'm smashing these guys and getting no credit. I've beat so many domestic guys, I could have won the British outright. Yet, if I ask you the question, who else has done that in the light heavyweight division?
Don't put me on the spot.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No.
Who else has done it? I know you do your research, so who else has done it?
Listen, I take a neutral stance in all of
Take a
this.
neutral, but just answer me an honest question. Who else has done it?
Listen, I will say this. I do think you've been overlooked in the division.
So there you can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. So everything I'm saying is not facts. I'm doing things that no one else is doing. I'm challenging myself. I'm stepping up for the pound for pound. When no one wanted to fight him, me and Peter asked Eddie for the fight. We went out there, put a close call. I could have stepped it on a gear or two earlier and become world champion. I didn't. We learned from it. We moved. But this is what I'm talking about, and no one gives me the credit for this stuff. And that's why I'm saying all the other guys in Britain, loads of guys, not just in my way. There's smoke and mirrors, people getting pushed, but I'm not getting that. But yet I'm taking the hardest fights and achieving the most and still not getting the credit I deserve.
I think it's very fair to say that you don't take the easy fights. You know, I can't remember who was saying it in the press conference. Oh, actually, it was Dillian. You know, in the pre-press conference, he was saying he's someone that he wants to see you do well, and you take the hard fights, and you face those challenges head on.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say that you have been overlooked when your name's not thrown in the mix, right? Peter, what do you make of that?
Do you know what, Melissa? And this is not for me to be, sound ungrateful or anything for the promotions or the boxing thing in general, but it started when he first turned over. Spider turned over about the same time, just before Buatsi, and he didn't have no medals hanging around his neck. He didn't come in with a big stage of a relation that's won world titles and all these smoke and mirrors and fame and glory behind him to push him or elevate him on the stage. And from the start of his career, it's not about he's had big fights. He's had to have them fights. He's been pushed. Like when he fought, I remember when he fought Alex Higgins for the Southern Area title. I mean, was he 12-0 or something? He was 12-0. He was 7-0, and then he went, right, this is who you got to fight. This is who you got to fight. If you don't want to fight him, you're out. Because you ain't got nothing else, you ain't got no gold medals, you ain't got no this. And he had to get himself elevated. He beat Higgins, won the Southern Area title, moved on. The next fight, Jake Bull fight. It was a bit awkward for us to Jake Bull fight, because Felix Cash is his brother-in-law. They're in the same gym, and it was an arm in fighting. And he said, you've got to take the fight. You've got to take the fight. Otherwise, and you're in that situation is, if you don't take the fight, then what are you going to do? You know, where you're going to go? You're going to go to another promoter? You're going to go to this? So he took the Jake Paul fight, massive underdog. I mean, he dropped him in every round. You know, after the win, well, Jake Paul got knocked out in a fight a couple of fights ago in one round by McDonough. He ain't all that good. He's a bit chinny. No, he ain't. He's a good fighter. He was a GB boy. Jake Paul could fight. He's a strong, big.
Yeah, one of the highest knockout percentages in the live.
Big light heavy, and it's continued with that. We're going to the Chegg Sugden fight. Yeah, he took the fight, late notice. He was supposed to be fighting Shakan Peters, who was 6'7". Sugden come in. We didn't know nothing about this kid. Listen, we'll all hold our hands up, you know, and own that stuff. He come in, he was a world champion kickboxer, was boxing on a world kickboxing circuit. Tough. Spider went here, thought he could put him away. If you look back at the fight, the draw was an absolute mess. The draw was a terrible these years. It was happening in boxing. I don't think the referee was really engaged in the fight. And then the Shakan Peters fight. You know, he was a mandatory challenger. They let him have a defence against Sugden. It was gauged on the Sugden fight. Well, you know, Sugden went 12 rounds with him and he went on point, so therefore he's got to win Shakan Peters. He didn't end up like that. You know, you walk through him. Every time you hear him, and ended the fight in the 9th round. We went from that British title, Shakan Peters, like he said, he's not record, is he? Shakan Peters is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I'll tell you what, I don't think there'd be a lot of other British domestic fighters that would have fought Shakan Peters. I know he was sparring with Buatsi, I know he was sparring with him fights, and they all said, I think Shakan Peters is going to beat him. He's turned him over. Then we asked, and he said, what do you want? And I thought it was about time, rather than him saying who we've got to fight. I said, we wanted Dimitri Bivol fight. I've watched him for 3 years, since he beat Trent Baldhurst in Monaco. So I said, let's have the Bivol fight, because I know the styles, you know. We looked at him, and I went, you're mad, I said, why is that? He come out without a mark on him. You know, I had a lot of comments after that fight. That fight could have been a draw. You know, it was Bivol the Beast, the top 5 pound-for-pound champion in the world. After, you know, in the last 3 rounds, he was hurting him. I could see Bivol was hurt. You know, could have went either way that fight. You know, it's self-belief. He'd have been the WBA Super World Champion after the fight. And that Dimitri Bivol ain't all that, is he?
Yeah, it wasn't Craig's that good.
Not that,
he must
actually,
not be that good.
He's not actually the same pattern that he would when Craig beat Jake Paul.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, this Spider. When he beat Shakan Peters, he's a good fighter. When he's had this close thing with Bivol, he's a good fighter. I mean,
discredit them.
There were some people put their hands up on a fight Dimitri Bivol.
That's what I'm saying.
Before that.
But if he's not a good fighter, how did he blow Joe Smith the way he blew Joe Smith, Pascal, Barrera? How did he blow all the world champions away?
So, a question: where do you think this underrating is coming from? Where does it stem from?
We don't know. You know, I done an interview a little while ago, and someone said to me in an interview, and this is their words, not mine. He seems to be the most underrated, underpromoted fighter out there, world-class fighter. And they said, thanks for the interview today. He said, and we also noticed you're probably the most under-interviewed trainer and manager. I said, we never see you on no interviews, Peter. We never see him on what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But you know what we do? We concentrate on the job in hand. And I said to him the other day, when we come back after that Bivol fight, it's the time now to change from being the spider that people think they can tread on and brush off, right, to be a venomous motherfucking tarantula. And go out there and put some venom in people.
The year of the tarantula.
And get a bit of people's notice, you know. And that's what it's got to be. I don't know where it comes from. I don't, you know, he's done nothing wrong but win.
Yeah, he took all the big fights. I've gone out there, performed, I've done everything asked of me. I don't know what's left to do. So, you know what? Now it's just a different attitude. Go in there and execute what we got to execute.
Yeah.
So let's say Saturday night, you get that win. What is next for you?
Well, either minimum European or world, Krasniki, any of them sort of guys at our top level, that's what I'm looking at.
I've already spoke to Eddie about this, you know, and we've said really, ideally, we would like Baldalik, who's now the European title champion, who beat Igor McElhaney for the European belt, so we'd like Baldalik for the European title, or I would like to fight Dominic Bozell, who just beat Krasniki for the IBO world title. We was meant to be fighting Dominic Bozell before the Bivol fight, and because of the COVID stuff, the fight fell out of bed. And he's got the IBO world title with Dominic Bozell. I would love that fight for him, just to go and win the world title.
Listen, exciting times ahead. You know, I'm a huge Spider fan. Wish you all the best on Saturday night. Peter, thank you so much for joining us as well. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Thanks, Melissa. Thank you. Cheers.